Okay, I have confirmation from Mamalu. Hi, Mamalu. Okay. So there is a coin new concept now. It's called the COVID-19 anxiety. It's particularly rooted from the lockdowns and from all this conditions brought about by the pandemic. And again, I would like to thank Wise Man's Books Trading for inviting me here, and particularly kay Ma'am Beth, Ma'am Rosel, and then kay Ma'am Malu contacted me. And sa lahat po ng present right now, I would like to say good morning, and I hope you stay safe. Sana po mawala na tong condition natin, yung pandemic na to. Anyway, why use music for this COVID-19 anxiety? First things first is music is an influential tool. It has been used time and time and again before pa. Even in churches, even in almost everywhere. Particularly Pythagoras was the first one who really, he's a mathematician who really was enthusiastic about the beneficial mental and physical health benefits of music on individuals or groups or in society. And this is the birth of solfeggio frequencies, which we will not really tackle now. We will tackle much more in general, which is fighting COVID-19 anxiety with music, particularly with classical music. So our topics for today is, number one is stress and anxiety. What are the difference between stress and anxiety? The effects of music on the brain, and there is what they call uso na yung online ngayon, like webinars and stuff. It's the online music psychotherapy. We'll tackle on that too. And we will I'm going to give you some classical music that you can use for anxiety, which is empirical based, scientifically proven by neuroscientists and music psychologists alike. And the long-term benefits of listening to classical music. That's a very interesting one. Say hindi naman just like that may effects na agad. So you have to have like longitudinal exposure to classical music. So we go with stress and anxiety. Stress is the demand and place on brain or the physical body. It's instant. So it can be triggered by an event, extrinsic, or even you feel frustrated or nervous. Anxiety is much more it's much more broader than that. It's a feeling of fear, worry, or unease. it can be a reaction to stress, actually. So stress is just a trigger also for anxiety, and anxiety is much more a longer period, which some psychologists have proven that stress and anxiety are not always bad. In the short term, they can help you overcome a challenge or dangerous situations, diba? Like what we say in very famous, like fight and flight, you know, in different situations. If we did not experience some anxiety, we might not be motivated to do things that we need to do, which is true. Like for example, like you know, deadlines and stuff. We all know that. I don't have to tackle that. But if we don't feel stressed or anxiety about it, we won't, you know, follow through it. So sometimes we need stress. But if, however, if stress and anxiety begin to interfere in our daily life, our regular activities, this is considered irrational. It's constantly worrying, experiencing severe anxiety. It's about traumatic events after it happened, like PTSD. You might want to consider seeking help, and there are a lot there. Maraming nag-offer for that. Okay, so let's go now to what are the effects of music on the brain. So different types of music have different types of psychological or cognitive effects, and we have to be tactful on what we listen to, because that's what we ingest. So basically, we're just going to talk about classical music, in which there is scientific and empirical research done years before, like the Mozart effect phenomenon, and how music makes you smarter, how they can improve memory, how they can ease stress and anxiety. So that's what we are going to tackle now. There's a difference between music therapy and music psychology. So first is music therapy. Mainly they just not just no, I'm sorry. Music therapy utilizes music or teaching music in order for a client to overcome their stress or anxiety. So music psychology is exposing them to certain types of music, and then discussing their feelings, experiences, and what their insights, and everything that the music elicits in them. So that's the difference. It's music therapy is utilizing music for the therapy. Music psychology is discussing the experiences of a certain type of music. So it's like a gateway for psychotherapy, talk therapy, or counseling, or even CBT. Anyway, so music therapy, they treat psychological issues using music. That's mainly it. And music psychology, they ask why, how, what do people think or feel about music. So actually music psychology is really more it's a broader area, and it's basically on music research. Again, I would like to say hi to all the viewers, and I can see a couple here, but I don't want to be, like Ma'am Rose, and si Ma'am Rosel, Ma'am Roslyn, Mama Lu, si Ma'am, sino pa ba dito? I'm just going to run down some. Ma'am Cyril, si Ma'am Judy, Ma'am Macris, or Sir Macris, I don't know. I'm sorry, Sir or Ma'am. Good morning. Ma'am Marian, si Ma'am Malu, syempre, Ma'am Diane, Sir Robertine, Ma'am Elvena, Ma'am Dulce, Ma'am Conicon. I hope si Ma'am Rose Astor, si Ma'am Rose, si Ma'am Vida, Ma'am Lyra, Ma'am Marivic, Sir MC, there. Okay. Anyway, so as I was saying, it's more broad. Music psychology is more broad. It's more research based. So they always update with neuroscientists and music psychologists and even psychiatrists and stuff. So they always update their methods. Okay. Now, brain scans are remarkably helpful because they now monitor what the effects of music are. Like when they expose you to music, and then it's just there. They can already analyze your brain, or what neural impulses that ignite the left or the right hemisphere. It doesn't matter, or the corpus callosum. It's just them knowing a specific area, like for example, frontal lobe or the parietal lobe, which ignites when a certain type of music is exposed to them. Anyway, that's basically the focus now of Music Psychology Center, in which I am very involved in and very passionately building up for over a decade. Actually, it's more than 10 years, and I would like to say hi to my mentor. I'm very blessed to be mentored by the first music therapist here in the Philippines. She is Miss Celeste Sanchez. She is the first didactic music therapist here in the Philippines. We met early 2000s when I was doing my research on music psychology, and she was the one who really enlightened me on how hands-on on how music therapy is. So Ma'am Celeste, I hope you are safe there, doing well. So after 10 years, more than 10 years actually of research, the MPC was established just last year. It caters from anxiety and depression and stress management. This is what I focus on, because mainly I think depression is what's that, or anxiety or stress is existing in every mental health condition, like in schizophrenia, or in bipolar, or in even in ADHD. So I just got the ones that actually it was the focus of the easy ones, so that to start there in the general, for me to be able to treat a wide array of mental health conditions. So again, thank you, Ma'am Celeste, for giving me a lot of insights on music therapy when I was doing my research on music psychology. The objective of music psychology is to create neural changes in the brain that stimulate improvement of psychological and behavioral functions of individuals which are diagnosed with a lot of a wide array of mental conditions. So that's the main objective of music psychology. Actually, the corpus callosum is the membrane in between the left and the right hemisphere, that facilitates the neural impulses. So that's the focus of actually the activities in the brain. So the more healthier the corpus callosum is, the more faster the neural impulses ignite from the left to the right hemisphere of the brain, and the better the results. So online psychotherapy, as we see now, we are dealing with this pandemic, and everything is online. Now for our safety, we always focus on safety first. So everything is online. We have to deal with that. So even in psychotherapy, so how can we do? How can we do online psychotherapy? This can occur through email, even text messages, video conferencing, just like now in webinars, online chat. Phones are very dynamic tool right now. Although they can be time delayed, like in messages and stuff, but still they serve their purpose. So the MPC, or Music Psychology Center, they do basically online psychotherapy, and we are not in a stage to do group therapies yet. We do lectures in groups, but group psychotherapy is much more complex. So we only do individual online psychotherapies. It's being a resource for a growing number of consumers, actually, and it's a convenience for the client, because they stay at home on their feeling secured and comfortable while consulting to any mental health practitioner or professional. So the primary tools are email, text messaging, real-time chat, internet phone, video conferencing, mobile device apps. These are accessed even in the youth. Everyone uses technology right now, so it's very basically easy for them. So now we go to the topic of classical music for anxiety. By the way, I'm going to provide these slides to Mamalu, and she's going to disseminate all this. I just want it to be focused first. No distractions. It's either the slides or me. But what happened was there was a delay with the slides. So so now I'm here. Anyway, so classical music for anxiety. What are the types that are being used or being utilized, or what are the efficient types or genres of classical music? So this is according to Classic FM. Classical music can be a powerful tool for relieving everyday stress, helping you sleep and supporting your mental health. We think these are the best pieces, according to Classic FM, to make you relax. As we know, lagi lang sinasabi, no, na classical music is for relaxing, but we don't know why. We don't know how. What are the reasons why? So this is why, no? And what type, not just classical music, no? What specific type of music? Ganun ang nagiging problema kasi. So it's like, listen to classical music. What kind of classical music? It's like a whole world of classical music. So number one is anything by Uniting. So don't worry, I'm going to provide you about the slides. This is by Unity. Um, i- it's a classical piece that transports you to another world. That's how they describe it. It's where I can dream to my heart's content. That's the description of the song. So that's number one by Classical FM. Number two is what I am utilizing every day in Music Psychology Center and in Music Psychology, and even in ACAP Center, the Assessment Counseling and Placement Center. By the way, I would like to say hi, girls, the ACAP girls, to Shades, to Abby, to Renren, to Claire, and to Irish. I'm live. Anyway, Air on G Strings by Sebastian Bach. I have a research study about that, phenomenological study specifically. We did Air on G by Bach with 69 clients, and this is the first psychological intervention on how to diagnose. It's like this is the evaluation tool, Air on G in Bach. So this is our basis on what type of music can we work on a client on a regular basis. It's a program. It's not just one click, kasi we have to have a program for that, so that they can really reap the mental health benefits of the music. So I would say good morning to Maria Teresa and Joy Lovely. Hello po, ma'am. Sir Jerry. Yeah. Hello po. Anyway, number 3, according to Classical FM, Piano Concerto in A Minor by Edvard Grieg. So, Classic FM describes this piece, Piano Concerto, as evocative, rich, and lyrical. It's from a Norwegian composer. It's full of what's that? Ups and downs. What did that? It's what do they call that? Dynamic. That's the word. It's very dynamic. It's not monotonous. So it ignites the brain. Huh? Okay. Let me check my slides. Okay. Number 4, it's Gymnopede by Eric Satie. Eric Satie is a bit of an eccentric in life, but he wrote some of the early 20th century's most sublime and visionary music. In the Gymnosides, there is a wonderful sense of like a musical distillation. These are the melodies are beautiful and simple, nothing rushed. It's just cool swing, and everything feels like it should be. It's almost impossible to hear them and not feel relaxed afterwards. That's the description of Gymnopede by Eric Satie. Number 5, it's Romeo and Juliet. We all know Romeo and Juliet. It's particularly by Craig Armstrong. It's a very famous piece, and we all use it. You can do it in piano and full orchestra. So that's who doesn't know Romeo and Juliet anyway. Number 6 by Classical FM, it's Clair de Lune by Claude Debussy. This beautiful piece is a sweet and Debussy's musical description of moonlight. That's how he made the song. Huh? So he describes moonlight. There's so much to discover in Debussy's piano music. Perfect piece for relaxing. You just find a cozy corner and listen and imagine to glistening lights of the moon. So that's how he perceives his music. Okay, let's go to numbers. So it's next is Johann Brahms' Weekend Light. This surely is the most famous lullaby in the world, as you can help but sing and go to sleep along with it. It's a beautiful Brahms tune, focused on making you relax and stuff. So those are the top classical pieces by Classic FM. Now we go to the topic of long-term benefits of listening to classical music. Again, I would like to thank Wise Man's Books Trading for inviting me here, and thanks for all the viewers right now. So what are the long-term benefits of classical music? Listening to music can be entertaining, we all know that. But some research suggests that it might even make you healthier. And that's much more interesting. Music can be a source of pleasure and contentment. We all know that, but there are more other psychological benefits as well. And that is what we are very interested in. The notion that music can influence your thoughts, your feelings, and behaviors probably do not come as much of a surprise, diba? If you've ever felt pumped up while listening to your favorite or fast-paced music or rock anthem, or even been moved to tears by a tender live performance, then you easily understand the power of music to impact moods and even inspire action. This has been done like so many years now, no? So music is a powerful tool and influential tool that sometimes we have to be tactful about it, because it can be used both ways. It can be used for the positive, it can be used for the negative. That's why we have to be tactful with our music. Psychological effects of music can be powerful and very wide-ranging. Music therapy is an intervention sometimes utilized to promote emotional health. So this is what we know about music therapy. It can help patients cope with stress. It can boost psychological well-being. Some research even suggests that your taste in music can provide insight into different aspects of your personality, which is very, very interesting. Some you tell me what music you like. You tell me your friends, and I tell you who you are. It's the same thing. You tell me what music you listen to, I'll tell you your personality. So there's research about this. Unfortunately, we don't have time to tackle about that. Maybe in the next So classical. These are the according to healthy.com. These are the effects, long-term effects of listening or exposure to classical music. Okay, classical music lowers blood pressure. So much more of Mozart and Strauss. There was a study about Mozart and Strauss music, as opposed to popular music. They were exposed. Two groups were exposed to classical music and to pop music, and then they were tested that classical music had significantly lowered the blood pressure of the specific group exposed to classical music, exposed to Mozart and Strauss, rather than compared to the pop music. Classical music makes you more emotional, and this is I have to elaborate on this. Not being emotional like exaggerated emotional. It's more receptive to feelings in order for you to accept what you lack of, or accept your emptiness, your sadness, and then learning how to deal with that. So that's why classical music, it's making you conducive to change, to positive change. So even one study in 2016 by published by Plus One found that opera music can produce thoughtful, empathetic response in people. And even in the study from 2001 found out that listening to classical music they were more willing to share personal information about themselves in writing. Particularly, Katherine Jackson is a licensed psychologist. I think it's in Chicago. She noticed that similar effect during neurotherapy sessions when she plays light or classical music. With her patients, they engage in deep breathing. She even said that some patients typically have a hard time sharing or discussing emotional content, are better able to open up and share when they listen to classical music. So it helps them relax. She says. So if they say that classical music makes you more emotional, it doesn't mean that the negative emotional, or the exaggerated emotional. No, it's the emotional being receptive and being open to discussing and addressing, and even seeking resolution about your emotions. And then there's classical music. It helps you sleep. My mom listens to classical music when she sleeps. It's because of my influence. Anyway, she likes music now. Makes her relaxed. A lot of people use classical music. It's inexpensive. You don't have overdose on it. You just play on. It's very, very accessible. You can download it anytime. Okay. So, but again, you have to be tactful on what type of classical music specifically. Okay. So I advise that you try music that has a regular rhythm, low pitches, and tranquil melodies, so that they could really induce you to sleep. So next is classical music eases pain. That's what Classic FM found out. So there was a study. It's published in the International Journal of Critical Illness and Injury Science in 2012. They studied intensive care patients suffering from pain as well as anxiety and depression. Even in cardiovascular issues, they had reported benefits listening to classical music. So this study is already published. It's way back in 2012. Actually, even infants, they have the analgesic action when they listen to classical music. That's why ABC or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, these are they have the same melodies. These are from the composer is Mozart. It's very probable that you already know it, but Mozart composed that song. It's from his 12 variations of piano. So that's where they based A B C D E F G. So Mozart has 12 variations of that, and they just based that because of the Mozart effect phenomenon, which Rauscher had discovered way back into late 19. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's 1980s, 1990s. So it's specifically the sonata for two pianos. That's a very good analgesic for infants. So Mozart's sonata for two pianos and Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. So they reduce infants' perception of pain and decrease their heart rates and improve oxygen saturation. That is the study that is published just in 2018 with the early human development. So this is at it's in a journal, and they also had what's that results with a quicker post-stress recovery. So again, classical music may make you smarter. Now this one is very controversial because some have claimed, like the Mozart effect phenomenon or the baby Einstein, they say that classical music improves your cognitive functioning, and others always contradict that. So they replicate the study and do not have the same effects, and thus not proving that classical music can improve memory or can improve spatial temporal reasoning. But the basis of the Mozart effect phenomenon is that exposure to 15 minutes of Mozart's music, particularly the Sonata K448, that's what they used. It increased the spatial temporal reasoning in the IQ scores of the experimental group, in contrast with the control group. So it's just listening to 15 minutes of Mozart's music boosts our basically our spatial temporal reasoning. And then classical music improves your memory. That is what Beethoven makes you a good companion, that's what they say. In a study published in Learning and Individual Differences, that was in 2012, one group of students listened to 1 hour lecture where classical music was played in the background. Sometimes I do that when I was still teaching general psychology. Sometimes I do that, and it had significant effects. Actually, I was very surprised about it. It was just minimal volume. Anyway, this study is a 1 hour lecture, and it had classical music played in the background. And there was another group that had no classical music, but the first group significantly had higher on a quiz rather than the second group. So researchers then inferred that these students are more receptive to the information when listening to classical music. But if you really want to boost your brain power, there's Dr. Schneck. Don't stop listening to classical music. That's what he said. Because music lessons and practices of any sort, particularly in classical music, may also contribute to improved brain plasticity. That is neuroplasticity. This is a very I'm very passionate about this topic, neuroplasticity, because years before they said that our brain cells did not regenerate or did not repair. They degenerate as we grow old, but neuroplasticity says otherwise. So we can regenerate because of neuroplasticity. We regenerate our brain cells, and classical music can stimulate or be a catalyst on neuroplasticity. And then after neuroplasticity, there is neurogenesis, which is a more broader experience about that. Okay. Classical music relieves anxiety. That's what we are talking about. Fighting music fighting music. Oh, come on, fighting COVID-19 anxiety with music. So again, I would like to thank Wise Man's Books Trading for inviting me here. So if you can't seem to turn off your brain, you may not want to turn off some music too. Some research finds that music can be used as a relaxation technique and can cause the heart rate to slow down and help relieve stress by lowering the breathing rate and emotional distress. This is by Dr. Schneck also. Even studies have found that they lower cortisol levels to help lessen anxiety. So one study published in the complementary therapists in clinical practice in last 2018. They looked at about 180 preoperative patients and found that listening to natural sounds, classical Turkish or Western music, all reduced anxiety by lowering their cortisol levels, and then resulting to blood pressure and heart rate also. While all of them had the positive effect of classical music, they found a specific type much more effective rather than the other. So there are different variations, and you have to really get into what you really dig into on what type specifically on classical music. Maybe Beethoven, maybe Bach, maybe Vivaldi, maybe Mozart, maybe anything. So furthermore, also classical music has found to build social relationships, and that's very important right now because of the isolation. No? Harmony with others could start a harmony in music, according to new research. So even these are studies that classical music harnessed social relationships. Even classical music makes you more productive. This is very interesting because research suggests that listening to music helps make repetitive tasks easier. Hindi ka naiinip. No? It is why sometimes recommended to listening to music while working or while completing chores at home. This depends on, again, the type of music that you listen to. This was illustrated by a study also and published by the Journal of Experimental Psychology just last year, 2019, which found that a person's boredom proneness is very interesting. Is a complexity of task correlated with whether or not music, classical or otherwise, contributed to productivity. So this is their study. It's applied in 2019. So we may want to look upon that. Classical music helps you relax, as we all know that, but why and how? Because first things first, according to Jackson, he says that it can also increase the release of the feel-good neurotransmitter, which is the favorite dopamine. This dopamine is the pleasure. Is the what's that? The wow factor in our brain, and it's a chemical that reduces stress, and as a result, we feel more relaxed and feel more comfortable. This is also stimulated by listening to classical music or our own type or favorite music, and then it results to being happier. So dopamine is, you have to thank dopamine. And next is, we have to have a quick recap. I hope that this lecture webinar was very interesting to you as much as passionate about me. I'm really very passionate about music psychology, and it has been well, music and psychology has been my life for I don't remember now. So a quick recap. I hope you've been interested. So we discussed about stress and anxiety. What are the difference between stress and anxiety? Stress is an extrinsic reaction. I mean, it's a reaction to an extrinsic stimuli. So it's just like an event or a condition. It's your reaction. So you have stress, and then anxiety is more longitudinal. So anxiety can be triggered by stress. So that's the difference between stress and anxiety. In music psychology, the effects on music on the brain, it basically the right type of classical music. In a nutshell, it stimulates neural impulses in the brain that then what's that resulting to change behavior. So the left and the right hemisphere, again, we have neurotransmitters, they have electrical impulses, and the membrane in between the left and the right hemisphere of the brain is called the corpus callosum, and the corpus callosum is where the neural impulses travel from left to right. And when we enhance the corpus callosum by classical music, that makes neurotransmitters faster, and it's like a what's that, fireworks. So they make you more productive. So online psychotherapy, we also discussed about that, what are the mediums for that, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of that. It is very very important right now that we have online psychotherapy, because particularly because of our lockdowns and stuff, for safety reasons, and it's very accessible. We have, just in the comfort of your own home, you can just say, hey, I need some help. Hindi na katulad dati na we have to go to the clinic, and with all the stigmas and stuff. Some people, they think, pag pumunta ako doon, they think I'm cuckoo, I'm loony. So it's not that way. We have to break that stigma, because mental health is as important or even more important than physical health, because sometimes what you think and manifests in your physiological aspects. So online music psychotherapy is being done by the music psychology center here, and also in other centers which utilizes other types of therapies in dealing with stress and anxiety. So classical music for anxiety, we have seen that I have already discussed the top 10 based on classical FM, which I recommend is yung again, Air on Strings in G. This is by Sebastian Bach, the best. As soon as you wake up, it's just 5 minutes. Listen to Air on Strings in G by Sebastian Bach. Listen to it 5 minutes as soon as you wake up. It declutters your thoughts, negative thoughts. It makes you more positive. It's like a defragmenter in a computer. You defragment all the memories and all the past, and it won't happen overnight. It's every day. Okay, so it's decluttering. I suggest also cello suites of Sebastian Bach, the best. The prelude is the best. The first these are hours long, so you have to pick what really appeals to you. So cello suites, Air on Strings in G. I also suggest Vivaldi, Four Seasons. This I use in as a diagnostic tool, because the four seasons, like winter, spring, and summer, and so if a client would discuss these seasons, you would know what he or she can emphasize. Okay, Mama Lu, I'm wrapping up right now. I hope. And then the long-term benefits we can discuss already. It's we have to have longitudinal exposure to classical music, and then after that we have discussed that it lowers blood pressure. It stimulates the secretion of dopamine. It has a relaxing effect, an analgesic effect, anesthetic effect. It's all that, and there. So that's what I do right now. I treat my clients with classical music because there's no overdose. There's no what's that? It's accessible to everybody. You just have to really dig into research on what specific type of music would be very effective to a certain type of mental health condition. Okay, so again, I would like to thank the viewers. I would like to thank Mama Lu for constantly monitoring me if this webinar is going all right. Thank you very much. I would like to thank Ma'am Roslyn, Ma'am Rosel, and Ma'am Beth of Wise Man's Books Trading. I would like to say hi to the editorial board and the board members, and also the assistant and associate editors and consultants of Music Psychology Center based here in Angeles City. Hello po. And also my colleagues in the Assessment, Counseling, and Placement Center, ACAP Center, Shades, hey, Claire, my sister, Abby, hello, and Irish, and Renden. And to all the viewers, thank you very much for your time, and I hope you learned a lot about this, or it initiated some kind of interest about this, or enlightened anyone. Thank you. I will provide the slides to Mama Lu, and Mama Lu will just send them to you. Anyway, thank you very much po, and thank you for your time, and I hope you stay safe. Bye bye po.